Hey there, YouTube, and welcome to my Let's Play series. The first of many, depending on whether or not anybody enjoys this. Uh, it's something I'm trying with the channel to keep routine updates, as I've sort of learned from the Hanzo project that a bunch of tiny little updates on that are not great. They're not satisfying for me to make. They're not satisfying for people to watch. So I'm going to more occasionally post more complete videos about things like that. Got a frog in my throat, sorry. And in the meantime, I'm going to talk about, visual design and things like that in games. And of course, while I've been talking about this, the opening cinematic for Hyper Light Drifter, one of my favorite games, is playing in the background. Now, I don't mind too much, and I hope you guys don't either, me doing a little bit of, verbal housekeeping as we get into that, because there's definitely stuff to talk about this opening cinematic, but there's some of it that's better to talk about after it's completely done. But generally speaking about it, it is very disorienting and a little, opaque, obtuse. I don't know if those are exactly the words you'd want to use on that. And arguably open to interpretation. Now, there are things you can find in the game to translate to find out exactly what things in this are called, but largely they're filling archetypes where you don't specifically need a label for them. You can just really tell what's going on. As specifically confusing as parts of this are, it's very broadly, fairly self-explanatory. But yeah, there's just a lot of haunting and beautiful stuff in this opening cinematic. And it's starting to tell you a little bit about the character, about what you need to know. There is a frailty to your main character, which is something they've been something that's more prevalent than it used to be in games, where it was just all about a power fantasy. But this is another arguably more powerful power fantasy, where you are at your strongest when you are overcoming something, either something that's part of yourself or something that's part of the world around you. And what Hyper Light Drifter isn't exactly saying now, but it will say partially through the frailty of the main character, is it is a brutal and unforgiving world you are in. So yeah, I'm still actually really not saying much about this opening cinematic, and what it's doing and what it means. Of course, I don't want to get too specific in interpreting it, because some of that will be colored by the fact that I have played this game before. I have beaten this game, so I know how things end. And I suspect many people watching this do as well. But in case there's somebody who hasn't, played this or watched somebody else beat it, I'm not going to get too specific about, how the opening pertains to the ending. But you just saw all that, and then your character wakes up. So all of that was either a dream or a vision. Now, it could be a dream, because as you can see at the end of that, he was chasing after the Pink Diamond, which has a very technical name, but let's just call it the Pink Diamond. And undoubtedly, as somebody seeking after this, he would have... Damn it, wrong button. As somebody seeking after this, he would have studied it. He would have researched it. So all that could have just been a dream about what he has learned researching it, how that Pink Diamond was involved in the giant robot guys, or whatever you want to call them. The ones that dissolved and melted and really kind of look like an homage to Evangelion, in the best way, which is why it's an homage, not a ripoff. What was my train of thought? And there was... I don't know as you could specifically call it a benevolent force in that opening cinematic, but there was the Anubis dog, who... Again, it's hard to say he's exactly on your side, but at the very least, you know, he's not out to get you. So the way I always sort of interpreted that opening cinematic was that it was a warning about going after that pink thing, where the Anubis dog, who is somehow tied in with, you know, whatever system the pink thing created or was involved in or was part of, you know, he's tied into that. So he's warning you straight up, like, if you go after this, it will kill you. Like, the pursuit of this will not end well for you. But, and I mean, for anybody who doesn't know the, like, the brief blurb on this game, your main character is dying, and he is seeking this thing to save his own life. And that ties in with the creator of this game, who had, I don't know the exact specifics of it, but he basically had to have a heart transplant. So he had some very, very serious health issues. So a large part of what makes this story up is directly from his life experience. You know, sans Anubis dogs and floating pink diamonds and shadow tentacle monsters, I'm sure. But art that comes from a deeply personal and truthful place, I don't know, there's just something to that. There is an authenticity to it. Man, I haven't even been talking about what the game looks like. I mean, it's pretty self-evident, you're staring right at it, but there will be time enough for that, for how this game, like, sets up its world and how it treats you. So let's just see, or not, how things go. There is a decent amount of room for interpretation in this game, which some people love and some people hate. Not for nothing about anybody. And see, there's our Anubis dog buddy down in the bottom of the frame. Excuse me, looking out for us. Along with the pink drifter? I don't know. I believe he has... I don't know if he has a name. Names and labels aren't important. What are you even? But dude's got our back. Dude bailed us out. Even left us a map. Alright. And then this is about as much of an explanation as the game gives you for what you're doing and what you're trying to do. Which, I mean, again, that goes back to the some people love it, some people hate it. And obviously, since I've played this before, you know, I already know the whole shebang. I know what I'm doing, and I know what I'm after. So we got to get at least 4 pink triangles in each quadrant of the map to do something with this thing. And this is where the game is like super open-ended and you can just go. You can just run around, you can just explore, you go do you, and you will find very few things arbitrarily blocking your passage. I mean, there's a couple, but not many. It's not, and I don't, you know, this shouldn't sound derogatory, it's not like Zelda in that way where you're getting a specific item that essentially acts as a key to get past a specific obstacle, because the upgrades you get in this game are obtained with these guys. You get 4 yellow squares while you're hunting for the pink triangles, and 4 little yellow squares make 1 big yellow square, and you use the big yellow squares to buy equipment. You basically have the option to obtain it in any order you feel like. Now, of course, some things are more useful than others. So I already have a pretty good idea, like, what the first thing I'm going to get is, and, you know, so on and so forth. Because, again, I am pretty good at this game. I don't profess to be a master. I don't profess this is going to be a speed run, but we're going to tear through here at a pretty good clip. So, and yeah, like those last two things I grabbed probably indicated a lot of those. Oh no. A lot of those yellow things are hidden, and some of them are hidden a little unfairly, but the game is, for the most part, pretty good about telegraphing how to get to stuff, particularly when, you know, you're familiar with it. You sort of recognize its tells. Now, that sounds vaguely braggy, so I will point out I did not get, like, 100% unlock without looking some stuff up. I did look some stuff up, and I remember where most of it is. So, where it might look impressive, where I'm just like, oh, hey, I know that I'm supposed to rub my face on this specific bush to go get more upgrades, but, yeah, a lot of that's just memory, and some of that I had to look up. So, how about how pretty this game actually is? The, oh, man. Like, if that's what this show is going to be about, I need to, like, actually very specifically talk about, like, how good this game looks and what it means. But, in the meantime, this monolith, this pillar, with the funky-looking text on it, that can all be translated. Aw, damn it. That can all be translated, and that's where people know what, like, the technical terms and the names for things are. That, I think... Can I get to that? I don't think I can get to that. At least not from here. I don't think I can get to that. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think I can get to that. But yeah, that's where people know the technical terms for things. The technical... Right. I must language better. Where people know the technical names for things, like what they're called, like what the name of the Anubis dog is, what the name of the pink diamond thing is, and what the name of the evil black shadow goo that has some connection to you is. And yeah, this is how the game communicates just about everything to you, is just with pictures, where it's just, you're conversing with this guy, all he's saying is there's a big, badass evil bird guy, the evil bird pope, specifically, at the end of this section of the map. And that's really all you need to know. I mean, you don't need to know too much more about that, which actually does offer the game some ambiguity. You get a little bit more story later, but you only have a little bit to make you think that these people you're going in and killing... Oh, so that was part of this platform. Okay. That these people you're going in and killing deserve to be killed. You're kind of assuming that. So there is perhaps a little bit of moral ambiguity there of how many people the main character is willing to kill to save himself. Now, again, there's not too much there. There's not going to be a moment where you'll drop your knees and go, oh god, why? But, yeah. It is something to think about. So, that door over there, that's a key door. As I mentioned, there's not a ton of things that arbitrarily block your passage, but there are, you know, things to find and things to unlock. And there will be keys hidden around the map, and a maximum number of keys will let you unlock that door. Like, that's got 10 on it. So you collect 10 keys, you can unlock that. If you collect 16 keys, you can unlock the 16 key door. But yeah, and the keys aren't used. It's just sort of like a maximum number kind of thing. I think 16 is as big as they get. So, we have one big yellow square now. I believe the upgrade I'm going for takes 2 yellow squares, if I remember right. And yes, that down there is a thing, but we can't go there yet. Or we can go there, we just, you know, can't get that far with it. Because I keep talking about the game like not doing a lot of stuff to arbitrarily block your passage, but there are a couple things. Basically, we've got to beat the boss in that section before we can advance any further down that specific thing. But yeah, it's not like I gotta go get a bow to shoot an eyeball, or I gotta go get a bomb to blow open a door. And here, this is the first visual thing I will actually really specifically talk about. I won't like necessarily stop and, you know, halt my progress to do it, but you had those 4 big red guys in the opening cinematic, and we just saw one of their corpses. So that whole thing where they disintegrate at the end of the cinematic, as far as I've ever interpreted, I've just always assumed that's a immediate representation of the passage of time, of the ravages of the passage of time. Where those were made, but they were made such a long time ago. They're just this ancient technology that... no, I'm still full health. Doing pretty good on health. This ancient technology that... I don't know. That's probably the end of that sentence, is they are ancient technology that did a thing, and now they're just lying and rotting or rusting, or however you'd want to phrase it, which helps. I mean, it's just such a classy little chunk of world building where you are surrounded by this ancient technology, and most people say the name of the main character in this is the Drifter. If you know, Steam gives out like digital trading cards when you buy the game, or, you know, beat the game or stuff like that. And that says the main character's name is the Magician. And I'd like to think he belongs to the Arthur C. Clarke School of Magic. It's okay. If you haven't heard of Clarke's Law, look it up. It will take you down, maybe not a huge, interesting rabbit hole on the internet, but there's some interesting stuff to tease out there. And that is totally a sacrificial altar with dried cake blood on it in a 16-bit game. And the juxtaposition of that is delightful. So here we go. Here is our evidence that the Bird Pope is evil. This is what we got. Where Bird Pope took over wherever this guy was, you know, taking care of eggs at, and completely just razed it to the ground. But yeah, there's, you know, a lot of people compare this game to Dark Souls in its difficulty, in the atmosphere of its world, and the way it presents its story to you, which is, it's there if you want to go digging for it, but it doesn't, you know, rub your face in it and make you stop and really appreciate, you know, tragic ironies or setups like that. Anubis dog, buddy. Hello, dog friend. And the sound of somebody else kicking ass, which is our buddy, the Pink Drifter. Did I call him the Pink Drifter? As far as I know, that's about what everybody calls him. Which, God, I love the color schemes in this game. Just like that pink/maroon and that teal, so good. Like, personally, as an artist, one of my, like, weakest points is color theory. So seeing something that should almost be garish but isn't, super cool. Which, I mean, it is a little bit garish, but garish in a pleasant way, you know, calling back to the limited color palettes of earlier systems, and even just like turning that a little sideways to come up with something new and interesting. And then No Man's Sky was using the same color scheme, and I'm just like, what are you doing? That seems uncool. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't a copying thing. It was just, you know, I mean, there are colors. There are a set number and a set number of good combinations. So that's just what that is. Yep, I am chasing down all the yellow things. I swear I'm not looking at a guide. I just have a pretty good memory for where all this stuff was. Because I blew through this game in, like, the first couple of days after it came out. Because in retrospect, I am not a patient man. And I do not have good portion control in anything I enjoy in life. So yeah, saying I tore through it makes it sound like it was no problem. And yeah, no, there were parts of the game that were super challenging. I just binged it, and I binged it hard. Yeah, I'm gonna go back for that health pack now. The music in this game is also super cool. Not a music expert, so that's about all I can add to that. But it's about all these things, you know, what the game looks like, what it sounds like, and what it feels like really, really meshing to create a very specific impression. Where some other games, I mean, all those things are good, but they're not necessarily all working towards the same goal. And it shows like a really fantastic direction for the game. And it's the sort of thing indie games excel at, where they have smaller teams, so that coordination and that kind of unified vision can come across a lot easier. We now have 2 big yellow things. So we are shortly going to run back to town and get an upgrade. Gonna get some mad ups. But first, we're gonna go for one of the more hidden things, where you see this little thing on the ground there. The game doesn't do a ton to telegraph stuff, but once you like have a good sense for what it does do, you can pick things out relatively easy. And here is one of the, because it was a more hidden secret, so this is a more major thing. This is one of the 16 keys that we need to open doors. Now, I'm trying to think, the door with like the smallest number of keys you need is like 4. So that's certainly not like, oh yeah, we got that one thing, it's gonna unlock something awesome. But it gets us on our way to something awesome. And you know, the snow effect picking up as you go further up the mountain, it's just a great, nice little visual touch. That we need a laser weapon to get to. Again, very, very few arbitrary things Hyperlight Drifter does to keep you from getting to stuff, but that is one of them. And those collapse, so that's why I just danced over that. Oh no. I took way too many hits that fight. Because this game is gonna get harder, so I gotta bring it. Aha! Stupid. Worth it. I know, right? Sick Deadpool reference, brah. And just the like little chunks of snow you kick up. You know what makes this game good? All the small things. I don't know the rest of that song. Which is just as well, I don't need to get Content ID striked for horrifying off-tune renditions of Blink-182. I mean, that would just be shameful. Oh dear. Yeah, wasted all my ammo on that, but I can rebuild that pretty quickly, because one of the nice things about the ammo system on this game is you rebuild it by, you know, using your melee weapon. Like, the most surgical, precise way to make you balance your melee with your ranged attack. No! No! What? Why did that open the map? That's apparently my... Was that? I didn't think that was my map button. Okay. Yes. Now, that was messy, and I kind of... Yeah, see, I was trying to use my healing button, and I opened the map. I mean, that's on me. But, you know. That was a messy fight, but yeah, that is a little taste of how brutal this game is going to get. The tiniest, barest taste. Alright, so we've gotten to, like, the main teleporter in the north end of the map. I don't think I mentioned it when it came up, but yeah, when our no, man, didn't mean to use that health item. Yeah, no, I got the thing. Okay. Okay, so that's right. We can warp anywhere using the map anytime, so I don't have to be on that thing. So we are going to go back to town real quick, and we're going to pick up an upgrade, and we're going to call the episode there. You know, I'm going to try to do these like between 20 minutes and a half hour, which I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm testing something out, and unfortunately, YouTube is not always good about like telegraphing to you when something you're making is doing well. So the first upgrade we are gonna get, because it is key, is we're gonna get the double dash. Gonna go full on Mario Kart. Oh, it takes. Wait. Oh yeah, it's not. It's the double. It's not the double dash. It's the infinite dash, and it takes 3. But we need that. Okay. So that's just going to be a little bit of a tease, but we're going to call it there, and I will see you guys. No, don't do the Markiplier exit. Don't do it. Okay. So I'm going to make another video, and I'll see you there.